back on the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel, and we're going to take a break from all the Christmas and holiday card making. We're going to go back to florals, because why not? I mean, look at this beauty. It's ready, it's here, begging to be ink blended up, so we are going to oblige. Yes, we are. Now, I am going to show you a couple of little tips and tricks that will work if you wanted to do like a clean and simple card and not get your ink blending all over the place. So we're going to start by adding some low-tack post-it tape to the back of our panel here. So this is going to ensure that our stencils are staying in place, but we're not going to need to tape down onto the actual front of the card, because sometimes you get the tape, depending on how strong it is, can actually rip your paper. So I've got all of these luscious colors. So we got Bee Sting Yellow. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous yellow. And then we're going to have a little bit of Marigold Orange as a nice contrast. And then some sweet Petunia Pink to make it pop. Yes, we are. And then we're going to have some Goddess Green for leaves. You know, we need some leaves, yes. And then we're going to add in some details with this Trinity Teal. So we're going to pop these aside, and then we are going to actually get making. And I apologize if you feel a little bit wonky, because I didn't realize that my filming is just completely off kilter here. But we're going to get back to the actual ink blending. So first of all, we're going to take stencil number 1, and we're going to pop it onto our card base. So with the way that this stamp is done, or rather the hot foiling actually, I guess a stamp is what you can say that. But it's not sort of, I never center it really on my card. But I always, I want to get as much of the flowers in. So this is why I always have to kind of come up with some clever way of not making a mess. So here I have taken a sheet of acetate. And this is actually not just like acetate. This is like the way back in the day, like overhead projector thingies, sheets. I mean, yes, that I'm giving away my age now, but so I have a packet of these still from, I mean, I don't even want to think back how far that is, but what we're going to do first is we're going to trace around the flowers. And here you will see later on that I realized that actually I could have made it even simpler for myself and just done the ones, but I didn't think about that, but I learned something on the way. So I'm going to pass that knowledge onto you now. So here you can see I'm gonna do the first layer with the Bee Sting Yellow, and then we're gonna do the layer number 2 with the Marigold Orange, and then we're gonna use our kind of anti-mask to keep our paper all around it very nice and clean. So if you want to save yourself the hassle of doing this twice, you can just trace around the outline of the whole image. So don't do just flowers or just the leaves, because unless that's just what you want, I don't know. But it just makes sense to do the whole thing in one go, because you're basically going to need that. But let's just have a quick look at this, because sometimes you can think, oh, those colors are a bit, you know, a bit harsh, but they really kind of make all the layers pop. Now here, once I've stuck the first leaf stencil down, you will see that I realize my mistake. I'm like, oh, it doesn't fit. Oh no. Well, Sherlock, we have ourselves a little bit of a situation here. So what I realized I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to trace again. So you can either have 2 anti-masks, which seems a little bit crazy, or you can just do it like I'm doing here now and pretend that this is the first time. So trace as close to the outline of the stencil as possible, but make sure that you're not going above or outside of the actual stencil itself, because that's what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to make sure that we don't get a mess on our white cardstock. So here, this is going to be yet another example of Erica starts out with a plan, and then not even like halfway through, she decides, oh, we're going to go another direction. But this will work really, really well if you wanted to just ink blend, but make sure that you're not getting ink onto the background, basically. If you want to have like a lot of white space on your card and you want to make sure it's all nice and tidy and clean and stuff. So this will work a treat. So now we're going to do just our final, our final 2 layers. So first layer with the Goddess Green and get all the lush greenness on, and then we're going to go in with the second layer the final layer, and we're going to add in those lovely details with that Trinity Teal. And I have an ink blending brush for each one of these colors to make sure that I don't contaminate them and stuff like that. But now we're going to look at the reveal, and look at those colors. They just, oh, pop, 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 don't they? So this I felt was quite kind of like bold and graphic. So at first I was like, okay, so this is going to be a 1-layer card, but I don't do so well with those. So I was like, okay, how can we make this pop even more? So then I decided, you know what, I'm going to make myself a background. So I'm taking a white card base, and then with a ruler, I'm going to draw very kind of just straight lines up and down, back and forth. And I'm using my grid mat and my ruler to make sure that they are evenly spaced and also quite straight. And okay, so I'm going to be 100% honest here. They're not all super straight. They're not all super perfect. But I wasn't too kind of hard on myself when it came to that, because some of these are going to be covered up by the flowers, because we're actually going to use the die cut and we're going to cut this out. So all of that anti-masking and keeping our cardstock white and pristine and clean and tidy was all for naught. However, hopefully I will remember this trick for next time I want to do this, and hopefully it will show you a little tip and a trick as well. So once we have got this all cut out, we're gonna, you know, try to puzzle down and decide what are we gonna do now, Erica? Hey, you had a plan and now you're gone a completely different way. So first I was like, okay, so we're gonna put this onto the card and then we're just gonna chop it off. And I try to get as much of the flower on as possible. And then I trimmed this down and I was like, oh, the flowers, I like the flowers. So I used the cut off bits and I added those too to the card, because I was like, well, I mean, I can, so why not? Yeah, so that's how that ended up. I kind of like it. It's almost like a, I'm not gonna say wallpaper, because this is a very bold wallpaper, but I like it. I actually was very pleasantly surprised at how this came out. So I'm gonna take the win. Yes. So 2 things. We have a anti-mask tip and a trick, and a make your own background tip and a trick. So there's so much you can do, and so many ways you can kind of switch these things up and, you know, make your cards pop in different ways, and also stretch your supplies. So I'm going to stamp up one of the sentiments from the stamp set, and then I'm going to use some ink off to clean up my stamps, because I'm one of those weirdos who would like it all very clean and tidy. And then we're going to trim off the other bit. So the sweetheart, we're just going to have hello. And then we're going to very, very simply add this to the card. So it's quite flat actually. So this is going to mail quite easily, or at least it will up until this point. But you know, you might know me. I'm a blingaholic. So, I mean, I looked at this and I was like, oh, this is very pretty. It's got, you know, all coordinating colors, you know, from the flowers onto the background. And then that nice shine with the foil, but yeah, he needed something else. So I looked through my pot and I was like, oh, I could go for like each one of these colors, like the blue and the green and maybe the yellow and the red. And I was like, yeah, let's give this a try. Let's give this a real try. And I do this a lot. I'm like, just go nuts with the bling. But I thought, like, I looked at those green ones and I thought, oh, you know what? These will look really, really nice. These are the peridot, and they will look really nice, like on the leaves, to give them some texture. And then I brought out the ebony ones. I love them. I use them on so many things. And they just, wow, I say. I love them. I cannot understate how much I love them. So I added, I'm going to say a fair few. This is not as many as I could have. So I restrained myself somewhat. And with that, the card is done. So obviously if you want to mail these, maybe like skip out on the bling, because then it would be flatter. But why would you? The bling is amazing. And the foiling is amazing. So I really hope you've enjoyed this. It's been a roller coaster of a ride, but I'm so glad you hung out with me today, and I will see you very, very soon again. And I will link everything down below as well. And that is it from me for today. Have a lovely, lovely week. Bye for now.